Thanks so much for making our tails wag by watching this guest interview from Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life.
Welcome back to Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life show. In continuing today's dog-themed show, raise your paw if you're getting frustrated by your dog's behavior while on leashed walks. Or are you maybe looking for that mute button for your bark, 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 bark dog? Hey, help is here. Our next guest is the lead trainer for Fear-Free Pets. She's a best-selling author. And oh my gosh, she's got so many credentials behind her name. She wears many, many collars in the pet world. Please give pause and applause to the remarkable Mikkel Becker. Welcome to the show, Mikkel.
So good to be with you, Arden, my friend. We've been friends for so many years, and I just love you.
So I have my little dog, Emma, for all you YouTube viewers. Kona, come back up here. Kona, come up. And Casey the cat is sleeping over here. Tell the world, for the ears only and for those tuning into our YouTube channel, who do you have?
So I have Otis right next to me. He is he is our hot mess of a dog. He's our what we call our problem child, but our very, very loved child. We were his fifth home by the time he was 7 months of age, which is pretty.
Wait a minute, slow down. He was in 6 homes before birthday number uno.
Well, we were his fifth home by the time he was 7 months old. So just over half a year old. And yeah, he had been through a ton of homes, and he was at the rescue, and she was waiting for just the right home. And once I got him, I realized why, because he is definitely she said, he's a hurricane of a dog.
So the O in Otis stands for ornery?
I think so. Yes.
But he looks so chill right now. Come
he does.
on. It's because you've worked your magic, your training magic, right? He adores you.
Oh, we are so close. Like I like to joke. It's like one of those things where I've found a lot of humor in his antics, because he has such a personality, and he's just one of those. He's like, he puts Marley to shame with some of the stuff that he does. So he's so special.
What's one thing he does that people will say, well, that's a dog, but what's Otis do? What's a trademark?
Oh my goodness. So he is like the Pekingese in him, where he loves to bark at anything and everything. So this topic is very personal to me, because I've lived this out with a dog that loves to bark. And so he barks for many different reasons, but especially if he sees anything, hears anything different, strange, he's going to bark. And so I've learned how to manage that, which can be very frustrating.
What's his bark like?
It actually sounds pretty big for being a small dog. It sounds pretty big. It's one of those, the ruff, 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 and then he'll bark, and then he's gotten to the point now where he kind of checks in. He runs and he checks in with me, which is good. So he'll come back, and then he'll growl, and then go back if he doesn't find me or something. And yeah, that's
a good thing. So we've got 2 topics that we're covering, and one of them is the bark, bark, bark. And the other is, you're on a leash and you want to have a nice walk with your dog, and the dog has other ideas. So since we got Otis here, too. Yeah, of course it's Otis. But you also have a couple other cool dogs. I love their names. The one that is endearing to me is where I'm from originally. Your dog's name is?
Indiana Bones.
Indiana Bones. And then you have a new dog. You just recently adopted, and she is.
Her name is Nova, and she's some kind of mix of. She's about 65 pounds. She is just so sweet. Does the full body wag, big tail wag, and wiggles, and just loves toys. She's amazing. She and Indiana Bones actually are the same color, but about 45 pounds difference between them.
Well, before we dive into these doggy dilemmas, I want people to get a better understanding of what Fear-Free Pets is all about. You're the lead trainer. But you've got so many other training credentials. You're a certified professional dog trainer. You've been trained by Karen Pryor. People just go to Mikkel Becker. Is it .com, or do you want them to go to Fear-Free Pets? Where do we go to find out more about?
Fearfreehappyhomes.com is perfect. So fearfreehappyhomes.com, and also a new podcast called Happy Paws.
Happy Paws. Is that on the Fear-Free Happy? Okay.
Yep, you can find Happy Paws on basically anywhere that you get your normal podcasts.
Yeah,
it's
like
up
our
there.
show, right? Yeah, that's
Mhm,
cool.
exactly.
All right. From one mic to another. Mic check. So, what made you get into this line of work? I know you have a famous father, Dr. Marty Becker, America's veterinarian, but I don't think you said I want to blaze my own trail in the world of pets, right?
Yeah, I grew up loving animals. I was pretty shy when I was younger and went through a really shy phase when I moved from southern to North Idaho in about sixth grade. And so I just really connected with my dog, with my horse, and started working with them and grew to really love it. At the time, I was doing a different type of training that wasn't the type that I now do. And so at
Okay.
the time, I thought, because it was pretty harsh and pretty rough, and my
Oh,
dog was
that
my
was back in
baby.
the time. Yeah, yeah.
It was, yeah. And so that was kind of the regular training style back then. And I went to one of the obedience classes with my dog, and I came out of the class and I told my mom, I'm like, I never want to train again. Like, if that's training, I'm never going to be a trainer. Like, I'm never
Like a
training.
leash
And
jerk or whatever.
yes, yep, ripped my dog off her feet for growling and snapping at another dog. But they brought the dog super super close to her, and she was reactive on leash. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah, it really stunned me and hurt me. I felt so horrible, and so I thought, gosh, I'm never going to do that again. And lo and behold, Scooter goes from being this really reactive naughty dog in class to we ended up doing 4-H together, and just through a different type of training and just kind
More
of doing it on
positive,
my
right?
own.
And
Yeah, it
reinforcing.
started to be a lot more positive and more like just bond based. And I've learned so much more even since then. But it was just so cool to go from her being the naughty dog to all of a sudden she's obedience champion of not only our class, but like of the whole group of ages. And I'm like, wow, it was just unbelievable. I was truly in shock. I couldn't believe that she could do that. So I loved her so much and, accepted her as she was. And then, yeah, she goes on to be a very well-behaved dog.
And years later, you've written a number of books. You're part of the Fear Free Pet Movement. I love the one book. It's great, everybody. I'm showing it to our YouTube folks. It's called From Fearful to Fear Free. And she is one of the co-authors. And I think, I guess in a short term, positive reinforcement. And I love that you said bond training, not James Bond, but bond training. What do you mean by that?
So a lot of it is about really connecting with your pet. So being able to give them feedback as they're going, being able to use your voice, your own body language. Pets respond so much to what we do. And so it's important for us to guide them and guide them proactively rather than waiting when they're kind of in the minute they're in the middle of a messy situation, then we might react. Instead of that, we want to intervene early and give them that early guidance and really reinforce that. A lot of times we don't reinforce the good behaviors that we see. We only kind of ignore them, let them be, like, let sleeping dogs lie kind of thing. But
Yeah.
then, yeah, what happens is that the dog learns, hey, they don't pay attention to me then. But when I jump up, when I bark, that's when they pay attention. So they start to do those other more kind of irksome behaviors that we don't like, but they learn through time that that's what works for them to get what they want.
So you need to say things like, good dog. Hey, yeah, got it. Yes, yes. More than, hey, what are you doing? Get off. Don't do that. So it sounds like that's the way to go, right?
Exactly. And giving them that ability to choose is so important. So, and letting them know what's going to happen. So same thing, whether it's with my horse Chili or it's with my dogs here, I'm letting them know what I'm going to do before it happens. So they have a choice in that situation. So rather than having to pull away or react, they're startled. If they start to show signs of avoidance before, so if, say for instance, I'm spraying a bottle of spray that's like a deodorizing spray or a fly spray, I'm going to say the word spray. I'm going to then just do a little bit of spray on an area where they're more comfortable with it and then reward them for it. And so it ends up being a positive.
Hey, everyone. We're speaking with Mikkel Becker. She's the lead trainer for Fear Free Pets, and she's got her adorable, sometimes ornery Otis with her. We're going to dive into making a leash walk much better, much saner, and how to stop marathon barkers after we take this break. So everybody sit, stay. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life Show. We have the one, the only Mikkel Becker in the house. Well, we're in different locations using Zoom, but that's life. And I just am so glad she's here. And I want to dive in, and I got to have a canine confession. I love, love, love pet safety dog Kona. She's my terrier mix. She is amazing. She's a certified therapy dog. When she's doing pet first aid classes, when we're at a conference, when we're on a photo shoot, you do it, she does it. But when she is just walking around the neighborhood after COVID, I'm sure a lot of folks can relate to this. She has now turned into, I saw a dog and I liked it. It's like a Katy Perry song. And she's like, yeah, 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 and pulling and wanting to say hi to every dog in our neighborhood. And on the 4th of July, I had to bring her back home and she couldn't see the parade because she was too jazzed up to see the dog. And it isn't anger, aggression. It's, oh my gosh, oh my dog. And so help people like us. She knows when she's on the clock. She knows when she's working, but she turns into crazy dog when it's off the clock. Any help?
Absolutely. So what you're describing there, it sounds like a very common thing that people face, which is that frustration that dogs feel on leash when they want to go say hi. They want to go up and investigate, to go see the other dog, to play, or just to kind of check them out. And they're prevented from doing that when they're on the leash. And for other dogs, it can also be fear-based and anxiety, and they can't use their body language as freely as they would off leash, and they can't get away if they're afraid. So the leash really can, though it's there for safety, we have to have it. It also can introduce this element of frustration with our dogs that we have to really tackle. And I can relate with that. My dog, Indiana Bones, the puggle, he gets so excited. He loves other dogs and he just loves seeing them. So that's one thing that we've really worked with on leash since I've moved up to the South Hill in Spokane, where there are tons of dogs out walking.
So what do we do?
All the time.
Because I want to take her for a walk, and she walks with our little dog, Emma. Fortunately, Emma is got good leash manners. She's like, what is Kona doing? You know, what can we do? Because I've tried distracting her with treats, shortening the leash. She's a smart terrier.
Yes, definitely. So a couple of things is sometimes I'll set up practice sessions. So even like on the outside of a dog park or like an area where there are lots of dogs walking. And so just remembering that distance is your friend. So sometimes I've even started it right off of the person's porch, right at their front door. So just watching people or dogs pass by at a distance. So practicing it also with something that's more neutral to start off with. So practicing with a person, with the car, something that maybe that your dog isn't likely to react at. And what we do is we teach that automatic check-in. So when they see that thing, they turn back towards us and they check in with us. And that has helped Indiana Bones so much because he was so just like, overly excited, hard to contain, it's just excitement, frustration. But now that we've practiced those automatic check-ins, it's almost become just this conditioned response. When he sees that dog, turns in, checks in with me. Biggest thing I would add is adding in really good, tasty treats. So before I was using sort of middle of the road or lower value treats. And instead what I've done is I've started to use like lean deli meats, some of those turkey hot dogs.
Yeah,
which,
Kona's a turkey girl. Yep.
Yeah. So trying to use those really good treats like we would use for something that's a little higher of an ask, such as a nail trim, we can use that out on walks with them. So just really small pieces is all we need, but it really helps to create that happy conditioned response and gets them turning towards us even faster.
All right. I am going to try and incorporate these ideas, and Kona is very excited because I guess I have to go to the deli after the show. So thanks, Mikkel.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Kona.
Let's shift to the dog that is even in your own house. Our dogs have a view of the front house. They're on top of the couch. And I swear I haven't even seen the dog or the person, and they've already smelled or heard them. Now, I want us to learn how to help our pets become hush puppies. How do you find the mute button on bark, bark, bark alerters?
So the first thing to remember with dogs is that barking is just part of who a dog is. So to expect no barking at all is really an unreasonable expectation.
So there's no canine mimes out there, I guess, as a career?
Well, supposedly, I mean, there are certain breeds that speak less, but it is a thing for sure. Even the dogs that aren't known for barking, they have other sounds that they use. So there are different ways that they let us know that, there's someone that's intruding. There's a change in the environment. That's one of the reasons why dogs actually became close to humans in the first place, was likely that element of guarding and that watchdog tendency that they have that would alert people to dangers. So there's that part in there in them that
So
we
I
really
think it's good that they do an alert bark. It's just I don't want a
Exactly.
marathon bark. So help us. What do we
Totally.
do? So Kona or Emma just spotted intruder, aka
Mhm.
the Chewy.com delivery guy.
Yep, exactly. So a couple of things that you can do. So first of all, if it's them barking when someone's at the door, what we want to do is teach them a calm behavior at the door and only open the door when they're quiet. So if we
Okay.
start to open the door when they're barking, we are further reinforcing that bark. And so that's one of the problems I see all the time is that the person's in a rush to get that package. If it's something that can wait a couple of minutes, practice with your pet and even practice prior to like when the package is there.
Good.
Like having them sit, the door opens when they're sitting, having them on leash, rewarding the quiet a few times as you're opening the door. And then eventually, the box comes in like, oh, no big deal. It's just a box. Like, or maybe said that really exciting thing where it is the Chewy box or their bark box. So then they get that ultimate
they got
reward
the
of being
nose,
able
the
to
nose
open that.
knows.
Yeah, exactly. And then what we want to do too is rather than getting frustrated with them and scolding them, instead what we can do is just offer like a thank you or okay, quiet. So it's more of just like, okay, I heard it, like I get it. Because a lot of times I think that it really is them trying to alert us, like, hey, there's a big change, something's wrong. Like, and so once we're like, oh, okay, cool, like I see it, I'm not worried about it. Like a lot of times they kind of calm down too, and we can also
so they're
give them
smelling your
to do.
emotional state, right?
Totally. So the more worked up we get, the more it's almost like we're joining in the bark with them. Like, oh my gosh, there is danger. I guess I was right. There was something to be concerned about. They're barking too. And so, instead just saying, okay, thank you. And then giving them something else to do. That has helped a lot with Otis, where then redirecting him to his bed, having him do a lie down. Then
so you might
his
toss
treat.
a treat to his bed or something. And
exactly.
Then, okay. And once he goes to the bed, then you're saying, or I always say, find your spot. Or settle.
That's perfect.
And so I am lucky they don't bark forever, and I feel like I'm glad they bark just to say hey. But I like your okay, thank you. You gave little doggy manners, and the dog's reading that energy, saying, "Okay, it's her turn to take over." Right?
Exactly. It's like, oh, okay. I guess everything's cool. Mom's got it, so I can relax.
Well, I haven't heard a single bark from Otis during this entire show, so. Have you been using your canine mojo on Mr. Otis?
I definitely have. And that's a big piece of it too, is like trying to stay in that Zen zone myself with him. And because, it's so easy to sometimes feel frustrated or to be like, to almost take it personally when our dogs act out, when really it's just, they just need to be taught something different and making that reward worthy. So with Otis, it's, I'm really truly trying to practice what I preach with him. And, the same with all the dogs.
Well, I think it's interesting too. You didn't just get a puppy and have all no problem dogs. You have picked a dog that has been in different homes, and it's challenging, but I have a feeling Otis has made you a better trainer.
Oh, he is 100% made me a better trainer, like in every way, more compassionate, more understanding, more like I realize not every dog is one size fits all. Like sometimes you have to come up with different approaches and really, as you have said with MacGyver. So really MacGyver, like, okay, and like really do that doggy detective work to figure out, okay, what's really going on? What's the root issue here? And for him, a lot of it too has been addressing underlying separation anxiety and fear. I don't think he was well socialized. So it's like learning that new people are friends. So we have different routines when people come in the house. So trying to take care of that underlying fear that he has made such a huge difference for him.
So pardon the pun, it's almost like we have to put our reactivity on pause.
Yes, I love that.
And wonder what is really going on. That's what it sounds like, right?
Exactly. That's definitely it.
Hey, we're talking to Mikkel Becker. I want you to go to Fear Free Happy Homes. She also has a podcast called Happy Paws. I'm just delighted that you've been a guest on our show. Thanks, Mikkel.
Thank you, Arden. And Otis says thanks.
Woof, woof to you, Otis. Hey, that's it for our show today. I also want to thank our wonderful sponsor, Tevra. They make a lot of great pet products. I want to thank all of you, pet pals, for tuning in. And to all the stations airing our show coast to coast, please subscribe to our show. Just go to fourleggedlife.com for details. So until next time, this is Arden Moore saying to all you 2, 3, and 4-leggers out there, pause up.
Thanks so much for making our tails wag by watching this guest interview from Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life.
Four-Legged Life.
Make sure to subscribe so you're up to date with all of our Four-Legged Life content.
Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life.